What is up, YouTube? Silver Dragons here, and in this video we are once again talking about American silver eagles. Now, some new news has come out. Congressman Alex Mooney has sent a letter to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, as well as the new U.S. Mint director, talking about how they dropped the ball on American silver eagles. Is this going to change anything? Stay tuned, and we will talk about it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I do sincerely appreciate it. Check out the headline of this article: Treasury Secretary in apparent violation of requirement to mint silver eagles in quantities sufficient to meet public demand. This is what I've been talking about for literally years, okay? The U.S. Mint, their incompetence, their failure to make enough silver eagle coins has driven the premiums through the roof. I mean, let's check out premiums right now on silver eagles. So here we are over at sdbullion.com, and by the time I post this video tomorrow morning, which will be Monday morning, who knows what the price of silver will be. Right now it's at $18.85. It is on its way down, so I'll be really interested to see, where it goes. When I wake up in the morning, I'll check my phone and we'll see. I mean, maybe it'll be down quite a bit from where it's at now. Who knows? But either way, the premium on American silver eagles, right now it's about a $15 premium. So that's pretty outrageous. I mean, if silver goes, now I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but if it does go all the way down to $15 an ounce and they're still charging a $15 premium over spot, that will be a 100% premium to obtain these coins, which is crazy. I mean, usually silver premiums are, 10, 20%, something like that, but 100% is absolutely ridiculous. So, by the way, while we're over here on SD Bullion's website, they are giving away silver eagles for free to the tune of 500 silver coins, which is really cool. If you want to enter this giveaway, there'll be a link down below in the description. You just got to put your email address in there, and who cares how high the premium is if you're winning them for free, right? So good luck to everyone, and let's get back to the video. So here is the news, right? This guy over here on the left, Alex Mooney, he is a congressman from West Virginia, and he is up for re-election this year, but I'm assuming he's gonna win because West Virginia, they're super, heavy Republican, or at least they have been for the last few years. But, we're not talking about politics in this video, although they have their way of sort of sneaking into every topic nowadays. But all we're going to be talking about is this letter that he wrote. So Alex Mooney is calling out U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and U.S. Mint Director Ventris Gibson for the long-running production slowdown in the silver American Eagle bullion coin program that has caused shortages and dramatically higher market prices for this iconic silver coin as compared to its peers worldwide. And that is not an understatement right there. Dramatically higher market prices. All right, so many Americans have sought to hedge against high rates of inflation by acquiring hard assets, including gold and silver. Overall market demand for bullion coins, bars, and rounds has risen to higher levels than seen in recent years, if not ever. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of demand for silver, and if you're smart, you should be trying to acquire hard assets like gold and silver with all of this crazy inflation that's going on. Now, I personally don't think that the Fed or the government is going to be able to get inflation under control. I think it's going to run crazy for a number of years and perhaps get a lot worse than it is right now, although it is extremely bad. But either way, look, I'm buying gold and silver. I think it's a wise thing to do, but I'm not buying silver eagles because the incompetence at the U.S. Mint, etc. But let's read on here. So most gold and silver bullion forms do not carry much markup, also known as premium, over the actual market value of the metal itself, thereby enabling investors to acquire more precious metal for each dollar they invest. However, this has not been the case with the silver American Eagle since 2020, causing it to become known in some circles as the most overrated silver coin in the world. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty overrated, I suppose. I mean, I do love American Silver Eagles. I have quite a few of them myself, but I bought them when the premiums were way lower. Okay, so in a letter dated August 25, Mooney cited 31 U.S. Code 5112E, which states the Treasury Secretary shall mint and issue in qualities and quantities that the Secretary determines are sufficient to meet public demand, coins which are 40.6 millimeters in diameter and weigh 31.103 grams, contain 3 nines fine silver, have a design symbolic of liberty on the obverse side and of an eagle on the reverse side. Now, obviously, they're talking about American silver eagles here, right? Now, here's where it gets a little sticky. All right, so who determines how many coins are enough? Is it the Treasury Secretary? Do they just say, oh, 10 million or 20 million, that is sufficient? Or is it the public who gets to determine how many are enough based on how many we buy and how high premiums get? If demand is super low, then the premiums are going to come down. But clearly demand is not low. It's very, very high because the premiums are so high. And so, it really is the public who should be deciding how many coins are enough. And clearly they're not making enough. So if we scroll down here, letter continues on, but as Mooney pointed out, the U.S. Mint has only made 11.6 million ounces of the silver bullion coin available to the public through July 2022, barely half of what has been supplied through the first 7 months of prior years when demand has been similarly strong. This shortage in U.S. Mint production has apparently led to extremely high market-based premiums on silver eagles, as high as 70% over the silver melt value, even as comparable items produced by other sovereign mints and private mints were not beset by such shortages or historically high premiums, Mooney wrote. So, I agree with all of that. The American Silver Eagle premium, I feel like 70% is even kind of low. I feel like it's probably higher than that right now. It's probably even getting higher as the price of silver goes down and the premium stays at $15 over spot. But, yeah, let's continue on. The high costs resulting from the U.S. Mint production shortage directly harm U.S. citizens wishing to avail themselves of a U.S. legal tender means of protecting their financial security from the effects of inflation. So Representative Mooney is demanding Yellen and Gibson provide answers to the following questions. Now, there's 5 questions here that he asks them, and I feel like all 5 of these are really good questions that I would be asking them myself. The first one says, does the Secretary believe the silver American Eagle coin is being produced in qualities and quantities that are sufficient to meet public demand? And honestly, if Janet Yellen does not answer no, she's lying, okay? They're definitely not being made or produced in quantities that are sufficient to meet public demand. The answer to that question obviously is no. All right, let's move on to number 2. Why is only a single supplier currently allowed to or willing to provide the U.S. Mint with silver blanks for its Silver Eagle program? Now, this question, I guess is a little more tricky because she basically has to, talk about a private company and their intentions, or other private companies and their lack of willingness to participate in this program. But really, probably the correct answer to this question would be that other private companies are not willing to sell their blanks to the U.S. Mint because they can make more money for these blanks selling them to other mints, whether they be private or other countries, right? So it's kind of that the U.S. Mint is just not willing to pay enough for the blanks. That's really in a nutshell the answer. Let's move on to number 3. Given its statutory mandate to amply supply these coins to the public, why doesn't the U.S. Mint have a policy to build a reserve of silver blanks during periods of slower demand in order to create a buffer for periods of higher demand? Now, this question, I would not want to be put on the spot with this one here, but I believe the answer to this would be that either the U.S. Mint is not allowed to buy silver too far in advance, and I did cover this in a previous video, and I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to remember, is it like 1 year or 2 years that they can buy silver in advance. It actually may be gold that they can't buy too far in advance. It has something to do with it has to have been mined within the last so many years or something like that, but it might only be pertaining to gold. So I'd have to do some more research on that. But I suppose the answer would just be that they want to buy it closer to when the coins need to be minted because of the crazy fluctuations in the price of silver, right? I mean, can you imagine if they stockpiled a bunch of silver blanks when silver price was $28 an ounce, back in 2020, just as an example, and now it's $18 an ounce, they're going to be losing a lot of money on it. So I mean, I don't know. There's probably multiple ways to answer that question, but the bottom line is the U.S. Mint just needs to be able to pay more for their silver blanks, right? I mean, I think that kind of is the solution here. But let's move on to question number 4. Has the U.S. Mint examined the practices of other sovereign mints, such as Britain's Royal Mint, Australia's Perth Mint, the Austrian Mint, or the Royal Canadian Mint, to learn from their relative success in meeting high public demand for their own silver coins? If so, what were the resulting findings or recommendations? Now, I can probably just go out and say I highly doubt that the U.S. Mint is going to these other mints and trying to learn from them, simply because the American Silver Eagle, when it got redone in 2021, when they changed the reverse, they only added one security feature, and it was really poor compared to the security features that these other mints are putting out. So I feel like the US Mint is not really interested in talking to other mints. They just simply don't care. They're doing whatever they want to do, whether it's not as good as the rest of the world. They simply don't care. So I think probably the answer to this is no, they haven't been talking to other mints, but honestly, they really should be. And lastly, question 5, what actions are currently being undertaken to address the mint's production problems, which reportedly extend beyond the Silver American Eagle coin program? And when will the U.S. Mint once again be able to fulfill its mandate to meet public demand? That is the million-dollar question right there. What are they doing? I would love to know the answer to this question. What are they doing? Because I feel like the answer is probably absolutely nothing. That's what I feel like the answer is. They simply do not care. They have not put out a statement to the public. The only thing they've really said in relation to not having enough silver is, the blanks, there's a shortage of blanks, there's a lot of shortages right now because of COVID and whatever. And it's like, just excuses. Give us some actual information. Tell us what you're doing. They're probably not doing anything, but hopefully they're doing research or talking to other mints. Hopefully they're trying to acquire more blanks from other private companies and refineries and all this kind of stuff. But who knows? I mean, the U.S. Mint did come out and say that they were not doing any Morgan dollars or peace dollars for 2022, and they were pushing those to 2023 because of an apparent shortage of blanks. So, I mean, they've kind of been hinting at like these little issues, but they really haven't said anything as to how they're going to resolve these issues. So let's finish out the article here. We are thankful that Representative Mooney is seeking accountability for the chronic mismanagement plaguing U.S. Mint operations and the resulting costs and frustrations it imposes on new silver investors as well as the precious metals industry at large. Okay, so there's the article. Now, honestly, I feel like this is kind of sad, but honestly, I feel like this is not going to do very much. I don't think we're going to get really the answers we want from this letter. I mean, basically, I think if they do answer the questions at all, they're probably just going to dodge them and not really give us a direct answer. So hopefully we get some answers in the future. And obviously, if we do, I'll make another video and keep you guys updated. But I honestly feel like the U.S. Mint, they're kind of falling apart. They used to be okay for a long time. And, they've changed mint directors a few times. And, they have a lot of excuses now because of COVID or whatever. But they're definitely falling apart. But either way, I feel like for me, I've kind of written off the US Mint. They're kind of not even on my radar as far as silver stacking, or acquiring physical silver. I'm not looking at the US Mint at all. Okay, they used to be a primary place that I even suggested people look to get their silver. Now, not even on my radar. I'm looking to, private mints or other countries that are minting silver bullion coins. So anyway, that's kind of my take on this letter here. I would love to know your thoughts on this whole situation. Feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section. I want to say a massive thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you all in the next one. Silver Dragons out.